Okay. You are the best photographer in the world. That one a good one now. Not on Instagram, not on YouTube. In the world. You are the best photographer in the world. All right. So let's just let that sit for a second. You know, I'm not speaking about internet fame. I'm not speaking about awards and who you work for or who you don't work for, who you're sponsored by, who you get free gear from. I mean, but, you know, everything that you do behind a camera, your thought process, your execution, the vision of what you're trying to capture, and then what's unfolding on the other side of the lens. That is what makes you special. That you're the artist. You're the person that's doing this for yourself, not for everybody else. And the best photo in the world is the photo that makes you feel like you've captured something that no one else has seen or done the way you just experienced it. So that image is something that's you experience it, you captured it, and it's special, and it's the best photo in the world. Maybe you have 100 best photos in the world, but they're all the best photos to you. So the problem is when we're shooting nowadays with social media and the internet and contests and online contests and blah, 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 blah. And you're not shooting for yourself. Most of the time, you're shooting for everyone else. Will this picture get a lot of likes? And at some point, you stop seeing your subject. You're taking a photograph of a bird. I'm a bird photographer, and you're just trying to get the image. You're waiting for him to make that move or jump off that limb or catch the squirrel or attack the bird or whatever it may be in my realm. I'm just trying to relate. And you start thinking, is this about the numbers or is this about like why I came out here today? And I'm just gonna, it's crazy because it's a reality. It's a reality. I've done it. I've been through this. The early days of Instagram, when it was just a really great photo sharing site and people were actually commenting on your stuff that you knew, then you had a little more interaction. I mean, I remember commenting back in the day about, I would be down at a location and I would talk to someone, and the next day I'd post a photo and then that person would comment on my photo. Like, great seeing you there. So much fun. We should get out again. You could talk between each other, a couple comments back and forth that grew your algorithm. But it was like, it was a personal touch. And I mean, I have some people that I talk to through Instagram that for some reason we stay within the algorithm, that they let us see each other's posts because we're friends. But then I have a lot that aren't. I have a lot of people I meet who follow me, and then I see them 3 or 4 months later and they're like, I never see your stuff on Instagram. Like, that's crazy. So I'm getting off subject. So, chasing the approval, it makes you rush and overthink your shots, your composition. Like I said, why you're out there taking the photo. The algorithm doesn't get to judge you. And unfortunately, it does judge us. And we play the game. So the algorithm is the committee, not our hearts, our brain, our soul when we're making a photograph. So like, let's reframe your photography. Like, it's a time capsule. This your memory card, your film, your negatives. It's a time capsule. It's not just content. The social media content, it will not last forever. It may last forever somewhere, somehow, but it's not your tangible legacy on this earth. The short amount of time that we get to spend here with our family and whatever, it's like, or just you're building something as a photographer, just like if you're an artist or you're a writer and you're building something, your legacy, and it is tangible. You can make it tangible. It's when you die, your wife and your kids aren't going to look back at your numbers on Instagram or your YouTube followers. You know what they're going to look at? They're going to look at a tangible album, a photo book, or something that you could create to keep your legacy there. I mean, yeah, hard drives are, I've thought about this before. It's like, oh God, if I did pass away, like, you got to find all my hard drives. You got to get all my passwords. You got to figure out how to get into Flickr and where I keep all these random raw files and everything like that. Like, that in itself is crazy. But like, that's like almost like preparing a will. It's like preparing your photographs, 25 terabytes of keepers and then 75 terabytes of raw images I have, or something crazy like that. Like, I don't know. Hopefully someone will go through them, and who knows, in another 30 years, hopefully I live that long, that I might even have 30 terabytes of photos. Who knows? So they're not just pixels, even though they are, so it's like, I don't even know. I wrote a couple notes here, like they're your memory anchors. That was one of my big ones. It's like, yeah, looking through the screen, you can see them, but like, if you had them printed out, print them out, get a little printer, even if it's not the best quality, get a little book, keep track of them in case the internet goes down or we get an EMP and we get fried and no electronics work. Have them here. Maybe there'll be memories you want to go by the campfire and it's just like, and the ones that you don't post, they're the ones that are important because maybe they meant more to you. So you are the best photographer in the world. No one can tell you that you're not. Art is in the eye of the beholder, they say. And it's like, it's not about your gear. It's just, it's not. And I hate the best term. I mean? It's like, you either have the best to be the best. You can buy the best camera, you're going to be the best photographer. You buy the most expensive camera, you're going to get one of the best photographs. In some realities that makes sense, but what is the best? Who's making that definition of the best? It's like the most connected photo, the most honest photo. It's like no one's seeing that on Instagram or on the internet. Wildlife is earned. It's wildlife photography is earned. It's patience, it's weather, it's waiting, it's driving, it's missing shots. It's like, if you're out there and it's freezing cold at 5:30 in the morning, you are doing this. You're experiencing what it's like to be a wildlife photographer. And in your eyes, while you're out there, bundled up the best you can, so many layers, fingerless gloves, you're there. You're the Nat Geo photographer stuck out there taking photographs in the blistering cold, getting that cover shot or trying to get that cover shot. That's what you feel like. That's what I feel like. I don't know about you, but I know when I get my camera and I'm out there, that's what that's what I'm envisioning myself as. And I always have, because when I get home and I see that image, it makes me feel like I've captured it. And that's the goal, and, when you look in and time slows down in those photographs because you remember it after it all happened. You can feel your heart rate flutter. You see it and you remember what happened. You're not thinking about your settings. You're not thinking about your camera. You're not thinking about your lens. You're not thinking about your f-stop. You're not thinking about any of that stuff. You're remembering the wind, the light, the sound, the noise the bird was making, the flight pattern. The photo becomes a souvenir of that experience that you had. So that's it. That's what you take. That's why you go out every morning. That's why you do it. At least that's why I do it, and then even if the shot's not perfect, the moment was real. That's why I said in one of my journaling videos about the 36 shot, you just take the photograph, and if it's not, so what? If it's a little blurry, it's not sharp. If it reminds you of the time, that's all that matters. Like back in the film days, it was a reality. So if nothing's happened, the moment was real, the photo's real, and even if it's not perfect, it's still real. And it's still one of the best shots you ever taken because it reminds you of it, So like there's rules versus the art, and there's too much negative space. There's a bad crop. You should have exposed it better for the feathers, there's comments and there's rule of 2/3. There's so many that are just fake rules. Like, these rules are not rules. And who makes the rules? These internet people who have these podcasts that tell you that you need to do this, you need to do that. You know what? Rules are tools, not handcuffs. Like, if it matches what you saw and it matches what you feel, it's good. It's good. No one could tell you that you should frame it here or not crop it here. I've had people comment on my photos like, oh, I wish I could see more wing. All right, well then go out and get a shot of the bird and you can crop it the way you want to crop it. It's the way I want to crop it. I want to see the head and that's it. Like, like, it just doesn't make you, when people say these things, I'm thinking like, they're really sitting behind their computer thinking that they should comment on my photograph and say, I wish I could see more of the wings. Or, that's a bad crop, you should show the whole bird. I mean, okay. I would never waste my time making a comment on someone's photograph like that. If it's not positive, keep it to yourself, because guess what? Then I'm going to come back and look at your feed, and then I feel like the first thing I want to do is be defensive and come back and... That's crazy. That incites this rage that people have online. So, I mean, that could be a whole nother video, but I don't know. I mean, I just feel like some people just got way too much to say. And, you know, you're allowed to shoot messy. You're allowed to shoot weird stuff. You're allowed to be a minimalist. You're allowed to shoot an abstract scene here and there. You shoot for yourself. I mean, I always bust some people about shooting a landscape shot with a bird in it, or, you know, if you call yourself a bird photographer. And I get it. And I feel like sometimes when I do say that stuff, I look back at myself and I say, you know, it's just his style. And I got to deal with it. If you don't want to look at it, don't look at it. You don't want to follow him, don't follow him, you know. But if it feels the way you felt when you took the photograph, how you lived the moment, it's a successful shot, you know. Nobody can take that from you, you know. No one else stood in the spot that you were standing, or maybe if you had a friend with you or whatever, but, you know, no one else heard what you heard, the rustling, the bird, the flight, you know, no one else felt the exact feeling that you felt when you got that shot, when you clicked that shutter, you know, and that's where you don't need permission. You don't need a rule set. You don't need a trend. You don't need to be discovered by someone. That photograph is what you did at that moment, and to you, it's the greatest shot in the world. That's why you're the greatest photographer in the world, because it's all about you. And you know, my camera is not a checklist. My camera is not an algorithm maker. You know, it's not a scoreboard. You know, my camera is a journal. You know, I always say everything's about writing it down, taking the experience back and redocumenting it. Well, my camera is the journal. My camera is the first step of the journal, you know, and the internet can't validate what it's never seen and it's never felt, because it hasn't felt anything. It hasn't been with you. It's not with you when you're doing it, you know. I mean, so let's just try to, how do you shoot for yourself? Okay. Now that I'm saying that you're the best wildlife photographer in the world, you know, like, let's just go on a quick list of what you can do. You know, go on a no-post walk with your camera one day. You know, shoot something that you have no intentions of uploading to your fan base or your Instagram, and see how you feel about it. You know, post one photo a month. Something physical, something real, something that your followers aren't going to like. So in my situation, a squirrel, or I don't even know, a rat, a cat. I don't know, like something that really means nothing to my niche following or what I normally do. Good try. See if you get some comments on it. Ask people to comment on it. You know, engage something different than the norm. You know, choose a personal project. Okay, like if you normally go out and shoot raptors like myself, and maybe you spend a week shooting crows, or maybe you spend a week shooting bluebirds, or at the time of season you do hummingbirds, something to challenge yourself that's not the norm, because you never know what you're going to experience. You never know. Even robins, like little robins, there's a million of them. They're so easy to find. You can find them out front of your door. They do things. They get in puddles. They there's a lot of things these birds do that you have no idea because you don't pay any attention to them because it's not your thing. But you can, it's a growth project that might just make you more well-rounded. Research the robin, watch a video, watch a YouTube video, and then take some photographs and then tell the story why, because it's something you just learned and you documented it, So stop checking your metrics also. Like after you make a post, I do it too. Like I'll make a YouTube and I'll look how many people viewed. Comments are obviously important in the early stages, but like just post it and walk away. Don't worry about it. Don't think that if it's hurting you, nothing's hurting you. A post is never going to hurt you. You may not get a ton of likes. You may not get a ton of, but it's not hurting you. The post is something that's important to you. So, there's photographs like these that I love, and I'll talk through them, that they get no love on the internet and no one really cares, like these birds are cool and it's like they're easy to find. They're not real rare. There's a lot going on that in these photographs that I feel are cool. These little berries on a branch or it's tucked in a tree. These are things that caught my eye. I wanted to frame the shot up and take it. And I did. Now I posted some of these, but I'm not posting. But the funny thing is when you post something, you are posting it for someone else to see or someone to comment on. So you're trying to feel out whether it's a good shot or not. I'm not necessarily trying to feel out if it's a good shot. The stuff I want to see, and I want that to be my legacy on the internet, I guess you should say, or my Instagram legacy. So the moment you stop performing for everyone else, you're going to feel a sense of calmness and you're going to have a better experience in telling your life story for your legacy and your family in the end when you collectively have all your photographs. And that could be a whole nother project, So let's just say, if you're out there doing it every day, you feel it, you come alive when you see the bird, you get excited when he launches off the branch, you see him come down and grab the fish, you're already the best. So you don't need to go out and find more. Maybe you just need to kind of go observe what you already have and be, appreciative that you can go to a park. I go to the graveyard and witness this close to your home and experience this beautiful nature right in front of you, I shoot for myself, and I would hope that people will drop some comments on this video about what they shoot and experiences that they've had. And, if this sparks some interest in you and you want to talk about things that I would do, and I'll look at your page and I'll tell you what I love about it. I look at things from a different point of view and hopefully you do the same thing when you see someone else's profile. You don't need to have the world's approval to be a world-class photographer. Because if you look at photographers over the span of decades and decades and decades, there's hardback books on photographers. And now you look at them and say, how did that person ever get a book published on their photographs? They're not good. Well, because it's not your style. But someone felt that their photographs were good enough to get a book published. So there's the rub. There's wildlife books out there that are hardback and coffee table books. And I look at the photographs and I'm like, I have pictures of every bird. And this is being the selfish photographers that we are, that are crisper, cleaner, better, tell a better story. But yet this guy's got a book published or this girl's got a book published. So you can't think like that. That person may have been super rich and published the book on their own. Like they may have had a friend who's a book publisher and wanted to publish their photographs. And I hear it from my friends like, oh man, I saw the Audubon calendar and your photos are so much better that blah, blah, blah. All right. Well, there's politics. There's everything involved in this. And that's, if you don't get that and you don't understand that, then, you're fighting a battle that you're not going to win. In your head, in your heart, take the photos you love, embrace the photos, and roll with it, and know that every time you step out that door or you grab that camera, that you're the best photographer in the world. Like, I'm going to do a little camera spotlight. I said I would do it. Leica M3 with the bug eye, right? It's got some wear and tear. peeling away. Old retro. Thought I would just bring one out every video. To end it, we're going to talk about a camera every time. So this is my trusty old Leica M3, as always, right here with me. Take it out for film days. Having a little trouble with the Advance right now. I gotta get it lubricated up or something. But okay, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Please click subscribe below. 168 Wildlife on all social media. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Post a comment. We'll chat about it. And have a good one. See you next time.